In the realm of personal achievement and self-discovery, few voices resonate as powerfully as that of Napoleon Hill, whose seminal works have inspired generations to unlock their potential. Among his lesser-known but profoundly insightful contributions is The 12 Miracles of Life, The Science of Success, a manuscript rediscovered and published in 2025 by Humanix Books. Written between 1949 and 1965, this book, though incomplete, offers a rich tapestry of Hill's philosophy, weaving together spiritual, psychological, and practical insights into what he terms the miracles of life. These miracles, as Hill describes, are not supernatural phenomena, but universal principles and mental attitudes that, when harnessed, can transform adversity into opportunity, poverty into wealth, and despair into purpose. Through a narrative steeped in personal anecdotes, historical examples, and philosophical musings, Hill guides readers through a journey of self-mastery, emphasizing the transformative power of a positive mental attitude and the inexorable force of faith. Below is a deep dive into the book's content, structure, and enduring lessons, culminating in a reflection on its significance. The Genesis of a Philosophy. The book opens with a foreword by Don M. Green, executive director of the Napoleon Hill Foundation, which sets the stage by recounting Hill's remarkable life. Born in 1883 in a one-room cabin in rural Virginia, Hill's early years were marked by poverty, mischief, and loss. His mother died when he was 9, leaving him a rebellious child. His stepmother, Martha Ramey Banner, played a pivotal role in redirecting his energies, encouraging him to trade his six-shooter for a typewriter and pursue writing. This pivot led Hill to journalism and, eventually, to a life-defining encounter in 1908 with industrialist Andrew Carnegie. Carnegie challenged the young Hill to dedicate 20 years to studying the principles of success by interviewing over 500 of America's most accomplished individuals, including Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, and Alexander Graham Bell. This commission birthed Hill's Law of Success and, later, Think and Grow Rich. But the 12 Miracles of Life represents a more introspective and philosophical evolution of his ideas, distilled from decades of reflection. The manuscript's uniqueness lies in its status as an unpublished work, discovered in the Napoleon Hill Foundation's archives. As noted in the note on the text, it contains material not found in Hill's other works, with some chapters appearing incomplete or intended for other projects. Despite minor editorial adjustments to enhance readability, the text retains Hill's original voice, complete with his handwritten revisions. The book's 12 chapters, each devoted to a miracle, explore concepts beyond Hill's famous 17 principles of success, such as the mastery of poverty, the transformative power of sorrow, and the acceptance of death. Hill's preface frames the narrative as a journey through the valley of life's miracles, where he reflects on his past failures and discoveries, revealing how every adversity holds the seed of an equivalent benefit. The 12 Miracles, a roadmap to transformation. Hill's central thesis is that life's challenges, poverty, failure, sorrow, and even death, are not obstacles but opportunities for growth when approached with the right mental attitude. Each miracle is a principle or perspective that, when embraced, empowers individuals to shape their destinies. The narrative unfolds through vivid storytelling, personal experiences, and the stories of luminaries who embody these principles. In The 12 Miracles of Life, The Science of Success, Napoleon Hill unveils a series of universal principles, which he calls miracles, that empower individuals to transform their lives through the power of the mind. The first 3 miracles, the inexorable power of faith, the law of growth through eternal change, and the necessity of growth through struggle, form the foundational pillars of Hill's philosophy, emphasizing the interplay of belief, adaptability, and resilience. These miracles are not supernatural, but psychological and spiritual tools that, when wielded with intention, can reshape destinies. Through vivid storytelling and real-world examples, Hill illustrates how these principles have lifted individuals from despair to triumph, offering a roadmap for readers to navigate life's challenges. Below, we delve deeper into these 3 miracles, exploring their essence and anchoring them with compelling examples from Hill's narrative and beyond. The first miracle, the inexorable power of faith. At the heart of Hill's philosophy lies the first miracle, the transformative power of faith, defined as a positive state of mind directed toward definite ends. Faith, for Hill, is not blind devotion but an active, unwavering belief that one can overcome any obstacle by refusing to accept undesirable circumstances as permanent. It is the spark that ignites action, the force that aligns the subconscious mind with one's deepest desires. Hill describes faith as the greatest power available to humanity, capable of altering physical and mental realities when coupled with a positive mental attitude. Hill's most poignant example is deeply personal. In 1926, his son was born without ears, a condition doctors declared would render him deaf and mute for life. The medical prognosis was grim. No child with such a defect had ever developed hearing or speech. Yet Hill, armed with what he calls his powerful remedy, rejected this verdict. He may have been born without ears, Hill declared to the doctor, but he will not go through life deaf and dumb. For nearly 9 years, Hill devoted himself to influencing his son's subconscious mind through psychological directives, instilling belief in the possibility of hearing. This involved nightly affirmations, visualizations, and a relentless refusal to accept defeat. By the time his son was 25, Dr. Irving Voorhees, a renowned ear specialist, confirmed a miracle. Despite lacking any visible hearing apparatus, the young man had developed 65% of normal hearing capacity, likely through bone conduction facilitated by Hill's mental conditioning. This enabled him to attend school, graduate college, and live a normal life, free from the stigma of disability. Another historical example Hill might have cited is that of Helen Keller, who, despite being deaf and blind from infancy, became a global advocate for the disabled. Keller's teacher, and Sullivan, instilled faith in her ability to learn, using tactile methods to unlock language. Keller's belief in her potential, nurtured by Sullivan's persistence, transformed her from a seemingly hopeless case into a prolific author and speaker. Both Hill's son and Keller exemplify how faith, when directed with purpose, can defy seemingly insurmountable barriers, aligning the mind with solutions that materialize through persistence and belief. The second miracle, the law of growth through eternal change. The second miracle celebrates change as the engine of personal and societal evolution. Hill posits that life is governed by an eternal law of flux, where nothing remains static and every moment of transition offers opportunities for growth. To resist change is to stagnate. To embrace it is to unlock new possibilities. This miracle requires adaptability, a willingness to pivot when circumstances shift, and the foresight to see change as a catalyst for reinvention rather than a threat. Hill illustrates this principle with the story of Mahatma Gandhi, who transformed India's struggle for independence through nonviolent resistance. In the early 20th century, India was under British colonial rule, its people subjugated and its resources exploited. Gandhi, a lawyer with no military power or wealth, embraced the inevitability of change by mobilizing millions through peaceful protests, such as the Salt March of 1930. His strategy forced the British Empire to confront its moral contradictions, leading to India's independence in 1947. Gandhi's ability to adapt to the political landscape, leveraging change to unite a nation, underscores Hill's assertion that growth emerges from embracing the flux of life. A modern example of this miracle is the reinvention of Steve Jobs. After being ousted from Apple in 1985, the company he co-founded, Jobs faced a career setback that could have ended his legacy. Instead, he embraced change, founding Next and acquiring Pixar, which revolutionized animation with films like Toy Story. When he returned to Apple in 1997, he transformed it into a global tech giant with products like the iPhone. Jobs' ability to pivot, learn from failure, and harness change mirrors Hill's second miracle, demonstrating how adaptability fuels growth. The third miracle, the necessity of growth through struggle. The third miracle asserts that struggle is not an obstacle, but a crucible for character, resilience, and achievement. Hill argues that adversity sharpens one's abilities, forcing individuals to confront their weaknesses and discover their inner strength. Without struggle, there is no progress. It is through overcoming challenges that one forges a path to success. Hill draws on the example of Thomas A. Edison, whose quest to invent the incandescent light bulb required over 10,000 failed experiments. Each failure, Hill notes, was a lesson that refined Edison's approach, building the discipline and persistence that made him the greatest inventor of his era. Edison's ability to view struggle as a teacher rather than a defeat allowed him to transform setbacks into breakthroughs, embodying the third miracle's essence. Another compelling example is Oprah Winfrey, whose early life was marked by poverty, abuse, and discrimination. Born in rural Mississippi in 1954, Winfrey faced seemingly insurmountable odds. Yet, she channeled her struggles into ambition, working her way from a local radio job to becoming a television host and media mogul. Her talk show, The Oprah Winfrey Show, and her philanthropy have touched millions, proving that struggle, when met with determination, can forge extraordinary success. Winfrey's journey aligns with Hill's belief that adversity is a necessary catalyst for growth, sculpting individuals into their best selves. The fourth miracle, the mastery of poverty. The fourth miracle redefines poverty as a motivator rather than a curse, a condition that, when met with ambition and purpose, can ignite extraordinary achievement. Hill argues that poverty, far from being a permanent state, is a challenge that sharpens one's resolve and fuels the drive to transcend limitations. By adopting a definite purpose and a positive mental attitude, individuals can transform scarcity into abundance, proving that the principles of success are as accessible to the poor as to the privileged. Hill's primary example is Father Divine, born George Baker around 1876 in Rockville, Maryland. Raised in poverty and working as a laborer in the cotton fields, Divine faced systemic barriers as an African American in the early 20th century. One day, exhausted and despairing, he leaned on his hoe and cried out, "Oh Lord, why do I have to work like this and get nothing out of it, but a hut to sleep in and so belly to eat?" This moment of anguish sparked a revelation, which Hill attributes to the miracle of faith and purpose. Divine declared himself God incarnate, founding the International Peace Mission movement. By the 1930s, he had amassed a following of millions, built a network of communal businesses, and accumulated vast wealth through voluntary donations, all tax-free. His chauffeur-driven Rolls-Royce and ownership of hotels symbolized his mastery over poverty, achieved not through greed, but through a magnetic personality and a clear vision. Hill emphasizes that Divine's success stemmed from his audacious self-belief and definiteness of purpose, principles anyone can apply in their chosen field. A modern parallel is J.K. Rowling, who, in the early 1990s, was a single mother living on welfare in Edinburgh, Scotland. Struggling with poverty and depression, she channeled her hardships into writing Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Her persistence, fueled by a vision of sharing her story with the world, transformed her into one of the wealthiest authors, illustrating how poverty can be a springboard for monumental success when met with purpose and action. The fifth miracle, failure may be a blessing. The fifth miracle reframes failure as a teacher, a necessary detour on the path to success. Hill asserts that every failure carries the seed of an equivalent benefit, a lesson or opportunity that, when recognized, can redirect one's efforts toward greater achievements. By embracing failure as a guide rather than a defeat, individuals can uncover new paths and refine their strategies. Hill draws on his own life to illustrate this miracle. Early in his career, he pursued law school and journalism, but financial struggles and economic downturns forced him to abandon these paths. His ventures into publishing, such as Hill's Golden Rule magazine, also faltered. Yet, each failure clarified his purpose, steering him toward his true calling, developing the philosophy of success commissioned by Andrew Carnegie. These setbacks taught Hill resilience and the importance of adaptability, ultimately leading to the creation of Think and Grow Rich and his global influence. He encourages readers to analyze failures for their hidden benefits, using them as stepping stones to refine their plans. An additional example is Walt Disney, whose early career was riddled with failures. In 1921, his first animation company, Laugh-O-Gram Studio, went bankrupt, leaving him penniless. Undeterred, Disney moved to Hollywood, where he faced further rejections before creating Mickey Mouse in 1928. His failures taught him the value of persistence and innovation, paving the way for the Disney Empire. Disney's story aligns with Hill's fifth miracle, showing how failure, when embraced as a learning opportunity, can lead to unparalleled success. The sixth miracle, sorrow, the path to the soul. The sixth miracle elevates sorrow as a profound teacher, a pathway to emotional and spiritual depth. Hill argues that sorrow, though painful, fosters empathy, resilience, and a deeper understanding of life's purpose. By embracing grief rather than resisting it, individuals can transform personal loss into a source of strength and connection with others. Hill reflects on the loss of his mother, Sarah, when he was 9 years old. Her death left him a rebellious child, prone to mischief and carrying a six-shooter in emulation of Jesse James. Yet, this sorrow marked a turning point. His stepmother, Martha Ramey Banner, stepped in, guiding him toward reading and writing, which redirected his energies and set him on a path to success. Hill suggests that this early grief deepened his capacity for empathy and fueled his drive to help others through his philosophy. Sorrow, he writes, is a path to the soul, revealing life's deeper meanings and fostering compassion. A contemporary example is Malala Yousafzai, who faced profound sorrow after being shot by the Taliban in 2012 for advocating girls' education in Pakistan. At 15, she endured near death and exile, yet her suffering galvanized her mission. Recovering in the UK, Malala transformed her pain into a global campaign, becoming the youngest Nobel Peace Prize laureate in 2014. Her sorrow deepened her resolve and empathy, aligning with Hill's view that grief can awaken the soul's potential to effect change. The seventh miracle, our unseen guides. The seventh miracle introduces the concept of unseen guides, intuitive forces or subconscious insights that steer individuals toward their goals. Hill describes these guides as a small, still voice within, a source of wisdom that emerges in moments of quiet reflection or adversity, urging persistence and clarity. This miracle emphasizes the importance of listening to one's inner guidance, which Hill believes connects individuals to a higher intelligence, whether divine or psychological, that aids in navigating life's challenges. Hill illustrates this miracle through his own journey. During his 20-year quest to develop the philosophy of success, commissioned by Andrew Carnegie, Hill faced numerous setbacks, financial struggles, failed ventures, and personal doubts. Yet, he credits an inner voice, a persistent nudge from his unseen guides, for keeping him on course. This intuition told him to persevere, even when defeat loomed, guiding him to complete the Law of Success in 1928 and later Think and Grow Rich. Hill suggests that this inner guidance was also at work in the lives of his collaborators, like Thomas A. Edison, who relied on intuitive hunches to solve complex problems during his experiments. A modern example is Elon Musk, whose ventures like SpaceX and Tesla were driven by an almost inexplicable conviction in their feasibility. In 2008, when SpaceX faced near bankruptcy after 3 failed rocket launches, Musk's inner resolve, his unseen guide, pushed him to invest his last resources into a 4th launch. The successful Falcon 1 launch secured NASA contracts, saving the company. Musk's ability to trust his intuition, despite overwhelming odds, mirrors Hill's 7th miracle, showing how unseen guides can lead to breakthroughs when logic alone falters. The 8th miracle, nature's definiteness of purpose and the fixation of natural laws. The 8th miracle celebrates nature's unwavering consistency, embodied in its definiteness of purpose and fixed laws. Hill argues that successful individuals emulate nature by setting clear, unyielding goals and pursuing them with relentless focus, undeterred by obstacles. This miracle underscores the power of a singular vision, aligned with universal principles like cause and effect, to achieve extraordinary outcomes. Nature, Hill notes, never vacillates. Its laws, such as gravity or growth, operate with precision, offering a model for human endeavor. Hill points to Henry Ford as a quintessential example. Ford's vision to democratize transportation through an affordable automobile, the Model T, was a definite purpose that guided his actions. Despite skepticism from peers and initial failures, Ford's unwavering commitment to mass production and innovation revolutionized the auto industry, creating a global empire. Hill observed that Ford, like other successful figures he studied, moved with definiteness of purpose, never slowing or quitting when faced with setbacks, a trait that aligned him with nature's steadfast laws. A contemporary example is Jeff Bezos, whose definite purpose to build the everything store drove Amazon's evolution from a small online bookstore to a global e-commerce and technology giant. In the late 1990s, Amazon faced massive losses and skepticism, yet Bezos remained focused on long-term growth, reinvesting profits into infrastructure and innovation. His adherence to a clear vision, much like nature's fixed laws, transformed Amazon into a cornerstone of modern commerce, exemplifying Hill's eighth miracle. The ninth miracle: how to transmute the creative force of sex. The ninth miracle, perhaps the most provocative, explores the creative potential of sexual energy when redirected toward non-physical goals. Hill posits that sex, far from being merely a biological drive, is a profound force that, when transmuted, fuels achievement in business, art, or personal growth. By channeling sexual energy into focused action through self-discipline and mental conditioning, individuals can achieve heightened creativity, motivation, and success. Hill's insights, drawn from 40 years of study, emphasize the psychological and physiological potency of this energy during moments of intense emotional connection. Hill's primary example is the broader pattern he observed among the 500 successful individuals he studied, such as Edison, Ford, and John Wanamaker. He noted that many were highly sexed and had mastered the art of transmuting this energy into their work. For instance, Hill suggests that a couple in a harmonious relationship can use sexual engagement to program the subconscious mind with goals, as the mind is highly receptive during such moments. By prolonging the engagement and verbally affirming ambitions, partners can amplify their drive for success. While Hill does not cite a specific individual for this practice, he implies it was a common trait among his high-achieving subjects, who channeled passion into their professional pursuits. A modern example is Beyoncé, whose creative output as a musician, producer, and entrepreneur reflects a mastery of emotional energy. Her performances and albums, like Lemonade, exude a passionate intensity that transcends mere entertainment, reflecting a disciplined redirection of personal energy into art and business. Beyoncé's ability to channel her emotional and creative forces into global influence aligns with Hill's ninth miracle, showcasing how transmuted energy can drive monumental achievements. The 10th miracle: time, nature's universal cure. The 10th miracle elevates time as life's most valuable resource, a universal healer that transforms circumstances and heals wounds when used wisely. Hill argues that time is the great equalizer, available to all but irreplaceable once spent. By budgeting time for self-improvement, reflection, and purposeful action, individuals can achieve extraordinary outcomes. This miracle calls for mindfulness, urging readers to treat time as a sacred trust and to align their actions with long-term goals through what Hill calls a commitment to Dr. Time. Hill illustrates this principle with his own life, reflecting on the 20 years he devoted to researching the philosophy of success at Andrew Carnegie's behest. From 1908 to 1928, Hill interviewed over 500 luminaries, including Thomas Edison and Henry Ford, enduring financial hardship and setbacks. Yet, he budgeted his time meticulously, dedicating it to study, writing, and self-education. This disciplined use of time culminated in the law of success and later Think and Grow Rich, which have inspired millions. Hill's commitment to using time purposefully transformed his modest beginnings into a global legacy, demonstrating the miracle's power. A modern example is Serena Williams, whose tennis career exemplifies the mastery of time. From her early training in Compton, California, Williams allocated her time to relentless practice, mental conditioning, and strategic career planning. Over 2 decades, she won 23 Grand Slam singles titles, balancing her professional pursuits with philanthropy and business ventures. Her disciplined use of time, even amidst injuries and personal challenges, showcases how prioritizing this resource can yield unparalleled success, aligning with Hill's 10th miracle. The 11th miracle: wisdom robs death of its sting. The 11th miracle reframes death, often feared, as a natural transition akin to sleep, stripped of its terror through wisdom and acceptance. Hill argues that death is part of the universal law of change, a phase that should not overshadow the joy of living. By cultivating a philosophical perspective rooted in faith and understanding, individuals can focus on purposeful living, free from the paralyzing fear of mortality. This miracle encourages peace of mind, allowing one to embrace life fully while accepting its inevitable end. Hill draws on his own evolving perspective, shaped by years of studying universal laws. He recounts how his early fears of death, common in his rural Virginia upbringing, gave way to a serene acceptance as he recognized life and death as interconnected cycles. He cites the example of Socrates, who, in 399 BCE, faced execution with calm resolve, drinking hemlock while discussing philosophy with his disciples. Socrates' wisdom, rooted in his belief in the soul's immortality, robbed death of its sting, allowing him to meet his end with dignity. Hill urges readers to adopt a similar mindset, focusing on living meaningfully rather than dreading the inevitable. A contemporary example is Steve Jobs, who, after his 2005 pancreatic cancer diagnosis, embraced mortality as a motivator. In his Stanford commencement address, Jobs reflected, "Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose." This wisdom drove him to innovate fearlessly, launching the iPhone and transforming Apple in his final years. Jobs' acceptance of death, aligned with Hill's 11th miracle, freed him to live with purpose and urgency. The 12th miracle, the American way of life. The 12th miracle celebrates the unique opportunities afforded by the American system, which Hill describes as a fertile ground for ambition and achievement. Rooted in freedom, individual liberty, and economic opportunity, the American way of life enables anyone, regardless of background, to rise through effort and vision. Hill warns, however, that these freedoms must be actively earned and protected through engagement and responsibility, lest they be lost to complacency. Hill points to Henry Ford as a quintessential embodiment of this miracle. Born on a Michigan farm in 1863, Ford leveraged America's open economic system to pursue his vision of an affordable automobile. With minimal formal education, he founded the Ford Motor Company, introducing the Model T and assembly line production, which revolutionized industry and made him a global icon. Ford's success, Hill notes, was possible because America's environment rewarded innovation and persistence, offering a platform for ordinary individuals to achieve extraordinary results. A modern example is Oprah Winfrey, who rose from poverty in rural Mississippi to become a media mogul. Born in 1954, Winfrey faced racism, abuse, and socioeconomic barriers, yet she seized the opportunities of America's media landscape. Starting as a local radio host, she built the Oprah Winfrey Show into a cultural phenomenon, leveraging her platform for philanthropy and influence. Winfrey's journey reflects Hill's 12th miracle, showcasing how the American system, when navigated with purpose, can transform humble beginnings into global impact. The Father Divine narrative, a case study in miracles. A recurring figure in Hill's narrative is Father Divine, whose transformation from poverty to wealth embodies the book's core principles. Born George Baker around 1876, Divine declared himself God incarnate, amassing a following of millions and vast riches through the international peace mission movement. Hill uses Divine's story to illustrate the power of definiteness of purpose, faith, and a positive mental attitude. While acknowledging the controversy of Divine's claims, Hill focuses on the universal applicability of his methods, urging readers to apply similar principles in their own fields. Themes and philosophical underpinnings. At its heart, the 12 Miracles of Life is a call to master one's mind. Hill emphasizes that mental attitude is the only thing individuals control outright, influencing health, relationships, and success. He introduces the concept of the seed of an equivalent benefit, suggesting that every adversity contains a lesson or opportunity. This optimistic worldview aligns with his broader philosophy, notably in Think and Grow Rich, but is presented here with a spiritual depth that reflects Hill's later years. The book also underscores the interconnectedness of effort and reward, echoing the law of compensation, One reaps what one sows. Hill's anecdotes, ranging from his son's hearing miracle to Gandhi's nonviolent triumph, illustrate how persistence, faith, and purposeful action align with universal laws to yield extraordinary outcomes. Conclusion: a timeless blueprint for transformation. The 12 Miracles of Life is a testament to Napoleon Hill's enduring belief in human potential. Though incomplete and occasionally idiosyncratic, e.g., the sex transmutation chapter, the book distills decades of wisdom into a framework for navigating life's challenges. Its narrative style, rich with personal and historical examples, makes complex ideas accessible, while its emphasis on mental attitude offers practical tools for self-improvement. The book's rediscovery in 2025 is timely, as its messages of resilience, purpose, and optimism resonate in an era of uncertainty. Hill's miracles are not quick fixes, but disciplines requiring faith, persistence, and self-awareness. By framing life's adversities as opportunities, Hill empowers readers to take charge of their destinies, echoing his famous adage, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve." For those familiar with Hill's work, this book deepens the understanding of his philosophy, revealing a more reflective and spiritual side. For newcomers, it serves as an inspiring introduction to the principles that have transformed millions of lives. Ultimately, the 12 Miracles of Life is a call to action, to embrace change, master one's mind, and discover the miracles hidden within life's struggles. As Hill reminds us, the path to success is not without obstacles, but with faith and purpose, every challenge can become a stepping stone to greatness.